'Tis the Smartman Show with Brian and Nate. I am Nate.
I am Brian.
Episode 12. We made it. You didn't hold the Brendan Fraser thing against me. I thought you might never come back.
I decided that I will look past your flaw of hatred of Brendan.
Thank you.
But it's not just Brendan Fraser. It's the fact that you hate Bill Paxton, too. It blows my mind.
What's not to hate?
There's nothing to hate. There's a reason they were in such great movies, because they're great actors.
You know the best movie that Bill Paxton was in? Actually, two.
Twister.
Usually the ones he dies in. So
oh my
Alien.
God.
Alien. There's probably another one. No, it's he dies in Tombstone, and he's easily the worst part of that great movie. And then when he turns into poop in Weird Science. When he is the giant talking turd, that is the best of Bill Paxton there.
We've got to stop talking smack about Bill Paxton and Brendan Fraser. They're America's sweethearts.
Is there any actors? Because I've always thought, I can't believe you never heard me mention that on the air. On the air all the time, I would rip on Bill Paxton.
I honestly I never caught it. I never heard it.
It always just makes me laugh how much I hate them.
I'm shocked. I'm really surprised.
It's hilarious to me because I'm just like, why do I hate them so much? I don't know, but I think it's really funny, and it actually exacerbates my hatred.
I'm trying to think if I hate any actors that bad.
Vin Diesel, you can throw that one in there too. When he dies in Saving Private Ryan, I'm like, that's good karma for just being Vin Diesel.
It's interesting to me how much hatred towards people you've never met you have.
Hey, look, if they're getting put in front of my face while I try to watch a otherwise great movie and they suck, then, you're taken away from that movie.
I'm really trying to figure out if I have any actors that I absolutely hate that much. I don't think I do. If I think of one, I'm definitely going to have to bring it up on the podcast because I feel like I am maybe coming at you a little hard about your hatred of them, but I just can't.
Oh, no, I deserve probably all of the criticism I can get.
I just find it weird. Literally, I mentioned how much I thought it was great that Brendan Fraser had a comeback story, and you were like, now I'm going to shit on him.
I can't help it. I can't, because I wasn't going to agree with you. I wasn't going to be like, oh, yeah, it was a great moment or something like that. I'd be like, it's great for him personally.
That he won that. Wonderful.
I'm sure. Yeah, no.
And then Smitty's like, I'm not even going to use my,
hey, you just made it Bill Paxton sound effect.
Oh, my God. All right, we got to move on from this. We have to.
Hey, let's talk about how you do meth now.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
It's a great way to frame this story. As I was thinking it could be something about first impressions or something. Because if somebody thinks you're a meth head right off the bat, how do you take that?
It's really hard, honestly. So let me set this story up. One, I'm not a meth head. I've never even smoked weed. You know that. I'm not that dude. I grew up in a house of police officers. Yep. I avoided it. But my wife's been super sick. Had some stuff going on with her ears and read that Sudafed is what she needs to take if she wants to feel better.
Yeah.
So she calls ahead and says, do you have Sudafed? And they said, yeah, you'll have to come into the pharmacy, buy it over the counter. She said, no problem. So she calls me and says, on the way home, can you stop and can you get me some Sudafed? And I was like, sure, no problem, babe, I got you. And then it happened. I go to the drive-thru because I'm lazy and I don't want to walk in. And I'm like, can I buy a box of Sudafed? And the guy's like, you have to come in. And I'm like, cool. So I go park. I walk in and I walk up to the counter and I say, okay, I'd like to buy a box of Sudafed. Here's my ID. Here's my debit card. And the guy looks at me and goes, what's your name? I'm like, my name is Brian, and, give him my ID. He's like, 1 second, please. Starts tapping away on the computer, looks up. What's your date of birth? Give him my date of birth. Tapping on the little keyboard of the computer. And he looks up and he's like, uh-huh. Hey, Jim, can you come over here for a second? And then another guy comes and he's pointing at something on the screen. And then Jim goes, oh, yeah. Yeah, we didn't get that shipment of Sudafed in today. You'll have to try
Is
back
there
another
prescription
time.
Strength Sudafed, or is it just regular Sudafed?
Over-the-counter Sudafed I was buying. But because they turned that into meth.
I know exactly what it is.
They sell it over the counter now.
You usually have to get ID for meth.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just the way of of the world now.
But again, my wife called ahead, and they confirmed they had Sudafed.
Right.
And I swear to God, this guy like looks me up and down and goes, yeah, sorry, we didn't get that shipment in, but you can try another day if you'd like. And I'm like, what the? And by the way, as I'm walking in, there's a dude there who knows me from the radio show, and he's like, dude, what's up? How are you? Nice to meet you. And I'm like, oh, great, man. Nice to meet you too. You know, we have a conversation. Call into the show sometime. And then I walk right up to the pharmacy, and then this happens, and he sees the whole thing happen.
That's amazing. No, that just reinforced the clerk's decision to not sell you meth, because he's like, Cartman, I'd have heard that guy. He's definitely on meth.
So I don't think they saw that part, but the guy saw me go up and ask about the Sudafed and then get turned away. And here's the best part of it is I was wearing pajama pants. Because
Dead giveaway.
Well, because I had a doctor visit, and just so they could get to the leg that they were looking at easier, I wore these baggy pajama pants. And I think that might be part of it. I don't know. But, dude, I have a few things. I'm too fat to be a meth head.
You have great skin.
I don't have crap all over my face. I'm like not scratching at it. Teeth. Do my teeth look you see these? Do they look like meth teeth?
Nope, you have some non-methy chompers right there.
Dude. I cannot believe that they looked at me and thought that I might be a meth head. And that's the only reason they wouldn't have sold it to me.
I was going to say that there could very well be a chance that they didn't get any Sudafed. You know what I mean?
They confirmed with my wife ahead of time they had it in the building.
Did you say that? Did you say my wife was on the phone and confirmed it?
I was so embarrassed I walked away. I should have. Yeah, dude, because, like, okay.
You got it, man. You could have, like, thought about it and be like, you know what? I'm going to go back in that place. And I would call the cops. I'm going to be like, why are they selling me Sudafed? Do they have Sudafed or no? You know? I wouldn't call the police for much.
What I should have done is I should have went back in. I should have went and bought a bunch of blue Jolly Ranchers and smashed them up in a little baggie. And just been holding it and said, are you sure you don't have any Sudafed? Like, that's the only thing I can think, dude. Like, so when they were pulling up my info, I do take a narcotic already. I do.
Oh, yeah.
I have cataplexy, which is a sister disease to narcolepsy. I have triggered. You've seen me pass out before.
I feel like
you have seen it. You've seen it happen once or twice.
Yeah.
And so I have to take this stuff that it keeps me from passing out. I can drive a car because of it. There's a lot of stuff that can trigger it. And so all I can think is they saw that and they're like, I don't know if we want to sell this Sudafed to a guy who's on a narcotic.
It's such a assuming, which I believe you, and I believe that they said they had it. Right?
Yeah.
We're going with under the assumption that they just denied you because they thought you were sketchy.
I can't think of any other reason.
That's how. It's very shocking that you felt that so embarrassed.
I totally felt embarrassed.
It's very shocking that you felt embarrassed.
Well, I just was like, in my head, I'm like, do I look like a meth head? Like, do I come across that way? Did I seem twitchy? Like, what was I doing to make them think I was on meth?
No, I know, I get it.
That's where my brain went.
But I put myself in the situation, and I bet I might be embarrassed too. I think I might get out to my car and just be like, wait a second. This is not right. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, the worst part is I still get my prescriptions filled there. So at some point, I'm going to go back, and they probably put a little red flag on it, and they're not even going to sell me my regular meds now. Well, I told my wife, I'm never going to get you anything from the pharmacy again.
Assuming they just denied you because they think you're sketchy, the audacity on a clerk to just make that assumption in their own head and deny somebody medicine is really funny. Like, I know you talked about it on the air. You didn't mention the name of the business.
I didn't, and I won't. I won't say what.
At the very least, you should call them and be like, "This is effing horse crap."
You ready? You ready for the best part?
Yeah.
My wife went in and bought Sudafed just fine.
Right.
No issue.
That same day.
No, same day. No issues.
The same day.
Same day.
Did she say anything to them?
No. She's non-confrontational.
Man, you guys, we talked about in a previous episode, you have no business driving up to somebody because they passed you and clapping like an a-hole. But you won't go in and say, what is your effing problem?
Because they're a legitimate business that does provide me with the medicine that I do need. Let me ask you a question, Nate. if I went in there and they said no and I started to make a scene and act like a dick about it, what are the chances I don't look more like a meth head?
You have to be careful about what kind of scene you make. You don't necessarily have to make a scene to get your point across.
I thought you meant throw shit at them.
No. Man, how much time have you spent with me?
Enough to know you have an anger problem.
Right, but enough to realize
I want to change that because
I've never been jailed for.
True.
Okay.
True. Yes, and I do want to make a statement. You are not the same person you were 10 years ago.
Sure,
I mean,
but again,
much better.
I wasn't like throwing and breaking things and causing big scenes in.
Yeah,
public.
I've probably been in more actual physical altercations than you have in the last 10 years.
Absolutely. The point is that you got to point that shit out to people, man. Be like, what is your problem? Like that. I feel like that's a legitimate consumer issue. Anyway, I didn't mean to call you out.
Now I'm wondering if I gave him the right license.
Why would you give him? Why would you have somebody else's?
I have my own license, but I have my old licenses as well. I wonder if I gave him the wrong license or something. I don't know why I didn't take it out of my wallet, but I have
it in the same place. Do you have your license in the same place as your old license?
It's in the same slot. I wonder if I grabbed the wrong one.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
You're just asking for problems.
I don't know. I'm wondering if it was my fault. Like, maybe I'm just an idiot and gave him the wrong license.
Change the name of this podcast. Is what we're gonna do.
God. Wow. I don't know what I feel worse about. The fact that maybe they thought I was a meth head or that I was dumb enough to give them the wrong license.
Because they're at least supposed to say, hey, this is expired.
Right.
You know what I mean? We can't take this because it's expired.
I would have thought that that's what they would say.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I was in pajama pants.
But to be honest.
So maybe it was like 2 strikes, you're out there. He's got pajama pants on and an expired license. He's definitely a meth head.
So I'm just upset that you were judged so harshly.
It's weird, dude. But, it's becoming a part of culture so much, meth use and stuff like that. Like, you see it everywhere now. I was just telling you when I was driving here, again, small town Mansalona, I saw a giant billboard for some form of Narcan, and it's like, it will save your life if you overdose. Not really. Not unless there's somebody there to jab it in you.
They put, new Narcan things in the restaurant where I work in like a couple different places and like with instructions on how I gotta stab somebody if needed.
I didn't know that. So businesses are keeping it on hand now. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm just fitting in with everybody else these days. I'm going to look at it as a positive. I fit in with everybody else. I'm not the weird guy out anymore. I always felt like the weird guy because everybody else has done weed and stuff, and like I never did, and I was the weird guy out. But now I fit in. Everybody does meth, and everybody thinks I do meth.
I'm glad that we don't have pictures of us and that people won't be able to, and video, because people will then go, you totally look like you're on meth.
No, put a picture.
Smith.
You should put a picture of me up. I want you to put a picture up. And you can comment if you think I look like a meth head. I'm down for that.
All right.
I'm down for that. Put the picture up. Comment now.
Will do.
Do I look like a meth head?
I promise.
Do not Photoshop me.
Oh, what?
Like adding missing teeth and scratching like marks on my face.
I would not do that to you.
I don't know if I believe you. Get an AI photo of me done.
I feel bad that you were so harshly judged. I'm not going to contribute to that. You know what
Suddenly that becomes the picture everybody uses when they're talking about me like hosting an event. Your Photoshop picture of me on meth. Oh, God. That would be horrible and kind of funny.
Yeah, no, that would be hilarious, actually. Gears.
Yes.
To a story, and it really, I think the question with this is, what would you do, and what is getting rich worth to you?
Money is good.
Wealth is talked about a lot in this society. It's how much is too much. I don't know that is necessarily the point of this story, but I think I don't know. Did you hear about the guy some years ago who bought like close to $1 billion in Bitcoin, or made close to $1 billion in Bitcoin, and then I think,
but it was worth barely anything at the time, and he bought a pizza, right? That guy,
something like that.
He's like one of the first people that used Bitcoin for a transaction, and yeah. If that's the guy you're talking about, I do remember that. And he spent it all. And whoever that pizza shop owner was that took the money is worth millions of dollars.
His name is James Howells. He's from Wales in the UK. And
Oh, wait, this is a different story.
I don't know if it's a different story. He claims that cryptocurrency, that a hard drive that he had is worth close to $1 billion, about $766 million or something like that. I don't know how. Let's see. Let's read the story through real quick. Is concerned buying the entire dump after battling with officials for over a decade to be allowed to search the valuable cryptocurrencies. In the summer 2023, his ex-partner mistakenly took a hard drive. Okay. Funding to be granted. Okay, so he had made close to $1 billion in cryptocurrency, or he had bought cryptocurrency or invested in cryptocurrency. His girlfriend, his ex, took his hard drive and threw it away, and it wound up in the dump in Ireland. This is the Irish. I don't think it's in Ireland. I wish they would
Wales.
say it's in Wales. Okay.
Wales.
So his hard drive that is worth close to $1 billion is allegedly sitting in a dump somewhere, and he is now talking to authorities and trying to buy that dump. I don't know how much a dump goes for. But there's a lot of work involved in that.
I was going to say, I assume it's not cheap, and there is a ton of overhead on it because you have to put certain chemicals in it to help, things deteriorate quicker. And yeah, that seems like a lot of work. And then it was back in 2013 this happened.
Yeah.
Do you know how much garbage is going to be stacked on top of where that hard drive would be? And don't get me wrong, they do, as far as I know, dumps, at least in the U.S., have grids.
Yeah.
So they know where like the area that a garbage was taken from and dumped. So they would be able to know where his neighborhood was.
Probably. Now, he said the authorities are, because he is trying to buy this, is because people are not letting him search for it. He's just like, I know where it is. He thinks so. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this dump is worth $1 million. Mm-hmm. Does that sound about right? Let's just say, for the sake of argument. Let's say
I legitimately don't know.
Let's say 5.
Okay.
This guy probably doesn't have $5 million. He might have to get a finance. He might have to get some kind of backing on it.
Uh-huh.
But you're sure it's in there. Positive, right? Like, you got to be positive it's in there.
You have to be positive, but again, his ex-girlfriend did it. She's probably off living the good life somewhere.
Can you imagine how much time he's going to spend looking for that and almost certainly never going to find it? It could take him years.
Let's factor in the other things here. How many times he's going to vomit digging through the garbage? How many times he's going to have to go to the doctor because a piece of rusty metal cut his hand? How many times he is going to literally reach in to something and pull out a diaper filled with child shit? Like, there are so many little things that are going to happen in this process that, to me, I'm instantly on the not worth it side of things.
Yeah. What if you realized that you won the lotto, but you had thrown the tickets away on accident? Trash had already went out. Dumpster had already, the trash had already went out for the week. Trucks came and picked it up and everything. What if you realized in that moment that your winning lottery ticket for $500 million was sitting in the garbage truck on the way to the dump?
If it hadn't been dumped in the dump yet, maybe I would root through the garbage there because it's such a confined space, and I know what bags I use, so I can instantly get rid of any bag that is not the type of bag that I use. You know what I mean? You can instantly just throw that out.
Sure, you can eliminate a lot of possibilities.
Yes,
but if it made it to the dump,
I just don't know if it's worth it, man. And the diseases you could pick up doing that, it's just, think about...
Get some gloves and some hazmat stuff, you know?
I don't even like grabbing a door and opening in it because of all the people's germs that are on it. I could not imagine the digging through garbage.
What is being rich worth to you? I don't really know.
Would you do it?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so.
What's your cutoff? Would you do it if it was in the dump truck still?
I mean, I might actually try to go to the dump if I could see if I could find it. I mean, it's $500 million. I would, but I wouldn't certainly buy a dump.
No.
You know?
With no guarantee of finding it. And even if you
find it. Yeah, and I would probably go to the dump and spend, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to find this thing. Give me a day. Give me several hours, to find it. And if I can't, whatever. Well, and that would be the ultimate pain in the dick where you find your bag, and it's not in there, and you threw it away somehow. But
even still, let's say he found it. Let's say this guy found the hard drive. Okay, after digging forever, he found it. 2013. That is 12 years, and I want people to think about the bottom of your garbage can.
Oh yeah.
The liquids that come out of it sometimes and build up and grossness.
Yep.
That's 12 years of other garbage
Yep.
on top, just leaking down onto it. There's no guarantee that he's going to be able to retrieve what's on the hard drive.
Yep.
All that
disgusting.
grossness.
It's the worst thing I could possibly imagine.
And it rains, so all that water that makes its way down through, because, I mean, when it rains on a grassy hill, it absorbs. It's going to do the same for garbage. It's going to keep going down further in and absorbing. It's
I say that I would go to the dump and find it, and I'd try to find it, and I probably would. But like being rich overall, I mean, I don't want to be rich.
I do.
I want to have enough money where I can travel the way I want to travel comfortably, do this podcast comfortably.
You have to be rich,
and you have to make enough money where you can do those things. I don't think rich is necessarily. I don't think you have to be rich to travel.
I don't know, man.
You know what I mean?
It depends on the type of travel you want to do. If you want to fly coach and if you want to stay in hostels.
I don't want to do things in like luxury. To me is just it is. I just want to make a good enough living where I can do the things I want to do, fund this stuff the way I want to fund it, and live my life. I don't have any interest in owning a bunch of cars. I don't have any interest in like having a huge house. I don't have any interest in any of that.
So I look at it this way. I'm somebody who does say how rich is too rich, but also I start to think like if I got rich, would I feel that way? Like if I busted my ass and worked my ass off and got rich, would I feel that way? I don't know if I would, dude. I might think, you know what? I worked my ass off for this. I want to take it, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to spend it, and I'm going to fly on the planes that you get your own pod versus your own like seat. I'm going to fly on the pods, like from Ted Lasso.
I mean, there's something to have if you have enough money to fly more comfortably. That's fine, but I mean, as far as like
hotels, you get a nice hotel where they leave a mint on the pillow instead of rat droppings.
See, here's the thing: I would prefer I 100% would prefer an Airbnb every time.
That's even more expensive.
I don't think so.
Airbnbs are like $400 a night.
Not always.
I mean, I'm sure you can find a really crappy one. Yeah, I'm sure.
I found a lot of very decent Airbnbs.
I have looked, and I have never found a decent Airbnb for what I would consider a decent price.
I find them for cheaper than hotels usually.
I'm going to have you look when I'm going somewhere because I truly did. We went to Boston, and I thought Airbnb over hotel all day long, and not even, it wasn't a snowball's chance in hell we could afford an Airbnb for 2 nights.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the point was I just don't, I just have no interest in staying in like high dollar hotels. I'm not any of that stuff.
Well, I'm not like a car guy, so I don't think I'd buy a bunch of cars. I'm a watch guy though. I might buy some nice watches.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy in like a Quality Inn, to be honest with you, Days Inn or whatever.
Yeah, I'm good with Days Inn, but that like if you look at like it all depends on where it is. If you had a Days Inn in Kalkaska, it's going to be cheaper than a Days Inn in Traverse City by a few $100s.
Sure.
I mean, it's just what it is. It's all location. And anywhere I would want to travel, it's probably going to be expensive. I know I think, like, when you talk about your Irish tour, I think you want to go to all the small towns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'm a tourist guy. I'd go do the touristy things. That's just who I am as a person. I am not, like, when we went to New Orleans, we did mostly the touristy stuff. The one time we didn't, I asked one of the guys, where do the locals go for music? And I got to tell you, I was terrified the entire time leaving the touristy area to go to this street.
Where was it again? Oh, New Orleans.
New Orleans, but it ended up being great. We saw some great music and stuff like that, but it was a really interesting thing for me to realize, okay, maybe I don't want to do anything that's not touristy. When we went to Boston,
No, my whole thing is
Touristy.
finding in Ireland is finding where the locals go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do the touristy shit because that you're supposed to do that, kiss the Blarney Stone, all that stuff. But I want to find out the cool things that locals are doing that nobody knows about.
Again, my germaphobe bells are going off. This whole kiss the Blarney Stone that everybody else has kissed. Do they wash it between?
No, it gets rained on.
That is not going to stop germs.
It's not. I mean, I think you are being very overblown with your germophobia.
Oh,
you're not going to get sick by kissing a rock outside. Sorry,
but it's not like there's when you go there's a line of people and you're just like one after another kissing it. So it's not like it's sitting there and dust is flying in on top of it and giving you a little bit of cushion between. You just got people walking up and kissing the Blarney Stone, dude.
Yeah, but I feel like you're making a way bigger deal about it than it is.
Nah, this is like the dudes that lined up 1,000 of them to bang the same chick in a 24-hour period. Absolutely the same thing. God.
I think you're way off base.
Sorry.
I think you are.
It's so gross to me, dude. Like I said, I can't even touch a door handle without being like, ew. Like, I can't, like, and you, like, I think if I were with you, you would lick the damn thing to make it even worse for me to have to kiss the Blarney Stone after you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So imagine how many other people are doing that.
And then I'd kiss you right on the side of the face just to try to spread whatever Irish disease I just caught.
I think it's a cool thing. The germ side of that bugs the hell out of me. And it's not just that. It's a lot of different stuff. But I just like, ugh. Like I'm cringing. Like I feel like my skin's crawling thinking about like a line of people all kissing the same spot.
I mean, we started this whole chat talking about digging into a dump. So it's just like
I wouldn't do it.
Your germy radar is going off. Me.
Oh God, you know what I didn't even think about too on the dump side of it? Think about as you're digging through the chances of being bit by a rat.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Or something along those lines. Like, there is a lot that can go wrong digging through a dump to try and find your $700 and some million.
Cut yourself, get a staph infection.
Oh, die from it, dude. People die from that stuff all the time.
You're so worried about germs. It is hilarious.
Whatever. I'm not going to feel bad about how I don't think that germs are a good thing.
Hey, here's a question. If you were rich, what is the one childhood toy that you would spend any amount of money on?
I would buy a fleet of Power Wheels.
There you go. It's a hell of a segue into the next segment. It's called Toy Chest. We're going to talk about your favorite toy. This is your idea. And we're going to talk about how poor I was because I don't really have any toys that I remember.
You don't? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What was your favorite, by the way?
So can I list a few?
I guess.
Okay.
Honestly, but though I had toys, but I didn't have a lot of like really nice toys.
Well, I had a Power Wheels, which is first on my list of how awesome that was to roll around in my Power Wheels.
I had Power Wheels, but I didn't care. I didn't care about cars. You know what I mean? I had a big wheel bicycle that was Knight Rider, and that was my favorite.
Okay, that's
thing.
sick.
It was a Knight Rider big wheel. Okay,
the fact that it's Knight Rider just took that to the next level.
That is by far my favorite toy.
I
didn't like, I didn't have toys necessarily.
So the other one, the other toy that I loved was it. Going back to nostalgia, which we spoke about on the last podcast, it was this Karate Kid setup, and it was the dojo. So it had like this red roof, and then it came with the characters, and then you could like kick a character through the door, and the door would break in half, and they'd go through it. And it was really cool.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it. I would buy that right now, but I think it's probably like $500 on eBay if I wanted to get it. And I don't want to spend $500 on it now.
I had Masters of the Universe and the Skeletor.
The castle?
The castle and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But I was never... I liked He-Man, but I didn't like having... I didn't have fun with the toys. I remember getting them and being like, and I played with them for a minute, and I'm like, I don't care.
You just brought up He-Man. Do you remember the character that smelled horrible? The He-Man guy? I think he was like green and fuzzy, and he just stunk. And they made it that way. Yeah.
I don't think I had it. I don't think I had that action figure.
Oh, okay.
That was the Beast.
Okay.
Was that Beast? I think that was Beast.
No, that's who you rode, wasn't it?
Oh, that was Battle Cat.
That was Battle Cat? Yeah, I can't remember, dude. Maybe.
Anyway.
But it smelled horrible. I remember I couldn't figure out why they made a toy that literally they purposely made stink.
And then I had a record player when I was a really little kid, and that was my favorite toy.
Record players are cool.
Yeah. But I don't have, my toy experience is not as vast as some.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I got a buddy, and I love him like a brother. I always have. Don't see each other as often since I moved away from the area downstate. But that kid, he had just every G.I. Joe that was ever made, every original Star Wars toy that was ever made. And he still has them, I think, in his basement. He had all the original Ghostbusters toys, so he had the firehouse where you could pour the slime through the roof, and it comes sliming down.
Yeah. You want to hear my? You want to hear
Turtles? He had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys.
You want to hear my G.I. Joe story?
Sure.
I couldn't watch G.I. Joe because it wasn't on. It was on cable where I lived, and I didn't have cable. They had three channels, and that was it, right? So we would all play G.I. Joe in school. You know what I mean? Everybody that watched G.I. Joe. And all I knew was like, "Yo, Joe," and that's all I kept saying over and over again was "Yo, Joe." And then all my friends were like, "They say more than that in GI Joe," and made fun of me. And I was like, "Yeah."
Did they say that like this? Did they say, they say more than that in GI Joe, and knowing is half the battle?
Nope, they didn't add that part.
Do you know that part now?
I probably stopped listening when my feelings were hurt. What?
Do you know that part now? Like you've seen G.I. Joe since?
Well, no, I never really watched the show and never got into it.
Oh man, so many cool. They had so many cool toys too. Like there was a giant aircraft carrier, and I mean it was massive. Yeah. And that had like fighter planes that could land on it. My buddy's got it. There was just so many really cool toys that came out. I feel like, is this me again? Being like my generation is better than your generation, because I feel like 80s and 90s had the best toys.
I mean, I guess I don't know what kind of toys are out now, but I feel like toys are probably better now.
Well, I mean, I think back. I think commercials for toys.
I think back to all the toys that were around when I was a kid, and I can think of like I wasn't into Legos.
But there's some cool Legos.
There was Lincoln Logs.
You had Lincoln Logs.
Did you have Lincoln Logs?
Yeah.
I don't know if they were, but like
I
didn't
think
care
they were
about those.
My grandma's though, from when she was a kid, and I used to play with them.
Well, right, but it was just like what do they have now? They have way better toys now. They have to, dude. I bet right now. Let's see what.
I'm sure. I mean, technologically, they're cool.
What are the most fun toys in 2025? You got to take out like.
Does that say Pimp Kit?
It says Plip Kit.
Oh, sorry, bad eyes, man.
Let's see.
Look at Legos is on there.
Just the like fire trucks and dump trucks and things that kids have nowadays are almost drivable all the time.
I don't know. Tonka's still pretty cool to me. The real metal ones from back in the day.
Here's a Plip Kit. What is this? This collection of 46 silicone arches, sticks, and X's connect via ball and socket.
Lincoln Logs.
It sounds like way more intricate Lincoln Logs.
That's what it sounds like.
Create swirling patterns, complex prisms, architectural sculptures. That is 2025 Lincoln Logs. Better than regular Lincoln Logs, probably.
The Unicorn Magic Land Rover and Tag-Along Trailer.
Yep. Calico Critters Hamburger Stand. Electronic Arcade Basketball Hyper Neon.
That's pretty sick.
It's pretty rad.
I wonder how big it is.
4M Science and Action Metal Detector. Is that like an adult toy? That's not a kid toy, right?
I think it is for kids. I think that's pretty cool, too. I will say that's
kids interested in science.
And I think that's a neat thing. But I also think that you can play with a real metal detector when you're a kid.
There's an electronic claw game you can just buy.
Not interested. That caused me too much grief as a child. I wouldn't want it in my house, pissing me off.
It's not about you.
Would you really want it in your house, pissing you off every day that you can't win it?
No. You can buy ant hills. I mean, those are, you could buy ant farms.
I could go scoop them up in a sandbox. Why would I pay for that? Oh, God,
fun.
I sound like the old man.
There's box and balls. Set up the boxes any way you want to create any trick you can imagine. Then toss, bounce, and bank to complete the trick. Just get some boxes and a couple tennis balls. Save yourself how much money? $29.95.
I'm not seeing anything.
Ooh, this
that's
one
that
sounds
much
fun.
cooler.
This one sounds fun. Think Fun Gravity Maze Builder. Pick a challenge card. Arrange the towers to match the challenge. When the marble is able to roll through the towers and make it all the way to the red target block, you win. Or get creative and build your own unique marble mazes. That sounds fun.
Okay, hold on. Pause right there. Can you open a new screen that we can share a commercial on? Now, what you just described is a board game. That's a board game. Sounds cool. But is it as cool as the Crossfire game and the commercial for it?
I know Crossfire.
Do you remember the commercial?
Yeah. Well, I guess I was thinking. I at first was thinking Hungry Hippos, but I remember this one.
There it is. I just don't think they make commercials as cool as this for kids' toys. And this toy in itself was so rad.
It's sometime in the future.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Crossfire. Crossfire. You get caught. Crossfire. Crossfire. You get caught. Crossfire. 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 You'll get caught up in it.
I gotta say, there's no reason that board game's commercial song should have went as hard as it did, but that was badass.
I mean, I can't remember when it was out. I feel like it was probably early 90s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to put... I remember seeing that commercial, and I remember how I felt about it back then. There's this weird flashback that I'm having.
I was 6. if it was 90, I was 6.
So I was 15 or 16, and I was just like, this is cheesy and awful. But I was like, the commercial. But the game looked fun.
Yeah.
I think I remember thinking the game looked fun.
It's kind of like, I mean, really, it's like table hockey, only you're using little guns that shoot little metal balls to knock the puck back and forth, which I think is kind of neat.
Those are some there's one. The Floor is Lava Family Edition game. It's not fun unless there's actual lava. F off.
People in Pompeii do not agree.
Yeah. But I mean, toys today are way better. Toys today are way better than what we had. Well, when I was a kid was, I was born in 75, so when I was playing with toys, it was 80, 85.
You had the original Star Wars toys. Those were so cool.
Didn't care about action figures. Plus, I didn't have any Star Wars. I don't think I had any Star Wars action figures or anything like that.
On the list of toys you just read, the only ones that I thought were cool were the metal detector and the one before it that was teaching you science.
I love that your old man ass thought that the metal detector was the best one.
It
on
was
there.
so badass.
So do you have any other favorites?
If I could afford a metal detector, I would totally get one and be out doing that. I don't know why. There's something about that I find interesting and intriguing, and I don't think it's like trying to get rich or anything, but it's just like finding
it's
cool
interesting
stuff.
I have watched fairly recently some fairly cool metal detecting YouTube videos.
Yeah.
People finding cool stuff, and it's interesting. My grandfather had a metal detector, and he would go out. He was kind of like an amateur prospector and things when he lived in Arizona. It's kind of cool.
I feel like the new version of metal detectors, though, is the people that do the magnet fishing. Like
that's one I saw.
Yeah,
you can just pull all kinds of stuff out.
I was watching these dudes, and it was somewhere in the Netherlands, I think, and they were pulling out bike after bike. I'm like, why the hell are there so many bikes in the water? It was so weird to see.
Yeah, it's strange. How do you know if people throw them in or if they just I don't know.
A bad accident. They flipped in and couldn't get their bike. I don't know. It was just like one after another. And some of them were really old bikes. And then some of them were like new bikes.
Yeah, I was watching something similar and it was in Europe.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. Did you watch that one?
I don't know. I watch a lot of magnet.
So it was in Europe and somebody pulled out this sword, this old ass
oh, that's cool.
300-year-old sword or something like that out of the river. It's kind of awesome.
And then we have the guys here in the States doing it. And I saw one in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And the guy throws the magnet out into the water and he literally pulls a live grenade out. And he calls the police. And I have never seen a police officer more annoyed in their life that they had to call in the bomb squad. And she said something like, they're busy people, and now we have to call them in because you had to move something that was perfectly fine and safe at the bottom of the river. And I'm like, what the hell is your bomb squad doing? What are they so busy with that they can't come in and disarm this grenade that anybody could have stepped on, kicked, thrown a rock. Like, could you imagine somebody's throwing rocks off the side and it comes down on it? Boom.
Yeah.
She was annoyed as hell.
I did realize just now what my favorite toy was.
What was it?
Books.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, I was reading all the time. I read like a fool.
Did you like the little...
So I read books more than I played with toys.
Like the little golden books? Or like serious books? I'm talking about when you were a kid.
I mean, I was reading fairly... I would say by the time of 6 or 7, I was reading books.
You know, one I just thought of one that I thought was cool, and it's complete opposite of books because it's fun. So, sorry.
I mean, I was reading Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in 2nd grade.
Right. Yeah, this is way more fun. It's like a 3-person slingshot.
Nope, not as fun. Nope, not as fun.
No, it was super awesome. 3-person slingshot, and we would shoot it from one end of our subdivision to the other, and we kept hitting our neighbor's roof until he came out like screaming, and that was a great day. It was a great
Books
day.
are better.
No way, dude.
Books are better.
You can't get into the fun trouble we could get into with the 3-person slingshot.
Sure you can. It's in your mind.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's that imagination.
Take a look and read a book. It's Reading Rainbow. That's so, man, dude, just talking about all these toys does make me want to, like, go buy some. It's weird because I have adult money now. I can if I want to.
Yeah.
And I did actually. Now that let me bring this up. Board game, Fireball Island. When I was a kid, was a game that I thought was the coolest. Again, commercial. Got me sucked right in. Buddy of mine got it. The same guy that has all the Star Wars toys. Have you played it? You pull the Fireball card, and there's different spots where there's these red marbles, and you hit them. And if your opponent is on the bridge or whatever, the marble goes down, and then it hits the bridge, and it knocks the guy in, and then they're dead.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest. Never had it as a kid, but I did get it 3 or 4 years ago because my wife used her adult money to buy me the childhood game
nice.
that I absolutely loved.
That's kind of awesome. Did you play it?
I did.
Yeah.
Once. But we still have it. We just, all of our games are packed away right now. We need to go through them. I would absolutely, I can picture that commercial in my head. Like, it's just so weird. They were really good at marketing to kids because I think about the commercials that ran back then, and it really.
Oh, yeah, very good. And, early 90s, I don't remember the decision. I don't remember if it was Supreme Court. However the decision was made to stop really doing Saturday morning cartoons because the programming had to be more educational. Probably right around that time, I would say they stopped really focusing those commercials to kids like that.
Yeah, I am surprised usually when I see a commercial for some sort of toy. Like, and again, I stream most of my shows, so it's very targeted usually, the advertising. But every time I see like a cartoon commercial or a toy commercial, I'm always like, oh, weird. I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
You know what we could do?
What?
Next podcast. I just thought of this right
Play
now.
Fireball Island?
No.
Damn.
No. Because we talked about our favorite toy, and we just talked about Saturday morning cartoons. Let's talk about our favorite Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh, dude.
We could really get into that one.
Yeah, and I guarantee you the one that I love the most, you were way too old for by the time that it was on. I would be shocked.
It's a real, because there's a very few of those. There is a couple of them that I did like when I was getting older.
Okay.
But most of them, I was just like, once I got a certain age where I stopped watching cartoons, any new one that came out, I was like,
there's
nope.
Probably one from the 80s that I love that you may have watched still. Maybe. But we'll save it for that podcast.
Interesting. I think we should do that next podcast.
I'm down.
What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Throw your favorite toy in however you want to engage with us, whether it's the comment section on YouTube, you want to send us a message, some way, somehow on the socials. Links are in the description of the video or in the description of the podcast. Your favorite toy. Send us something for your favorite cartoon.
Yeah. I like the favorite toy, but just so Smitty can feel like he's a part of it. You can also be lame and share your favorite books as well.
Favorite book as a kid was the Phantom Toll Booth.
I I remember part of the title. I liked one book when I was like in 6th grade. Sideways, Tales from the Wayside School or something like that. And it's like this school that it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a very weird book. Should read it though, and let me know what you think.
No.
Come on, it's for a 6th grader. It's almost a book you could read.
I don't have time to read anymore. Mine are all audiobooks.
Oh,
I listen to audiobooks now.
now that you say that, I wonder if that's an audiobook. Maybe I'll get the audiobook and re-listen to it.
There you go. There you go. Revisiting childhood and all sorts of stuff on the Smartman Show podcast. Please.
Hey, you're not old. I just read the other day, if you call it audiobook, you're not old. If you call it book on tape, you're old.
Yep, no, I'm
Look
good.
at you, hip man.
Yep. Leave us a good review. Rate the podcast. Leave us 5 stars. Just give us 5 stars right now on the thing. Do 5 stars. Like, share the podcast with your podcast-loving friends, all that stuff. And we'll be back for another episode talking about things like cartoons. Feel smarter?
Not really,
All right.
but it was still fun.
I mean, it's the effort. You don't necessarily get there every time, but it's the effort, you know?
Yes.
All right. Peace.